Three-game series against the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles trying to keep pace in the American League wild card race, but Showalter's team lost 4-3 in yesterday's ball game. This Tillman took the loss, dropped him to 16-6. Now it's time to take a look at the starting lineups. They're brought to you by Quaker Steak, real, durable oil. Top of the lineup, a little different look for the Orioles. They put Nick Markakis up there in the leadoff spot because Markakis has hit very well against Mark Burley. 14 for 34. That's a .412 average. And back in the third spot, Chris Davis, he too has had success against the Blue Jays lefty. A couple of home runs and he's driven in 3. This is a very tough lineup for Mark Burley.
He's going to try and bounce back after a rough start last time. He lost his first game in 10 starts. Last time out, 8 runs, 12 hits, which was a season high against the Angels. Burley looking to go 12-8.
Here's the first pitch of the ball game. It is outside and we are underway. Nick Markakis, a left-handed hitter that is in the leadoff spot. Nate McLouth is normally in the leadoff spot. And Markakis continues to hit well against Mark Burley. Leadoff single. Let's take a look at the defense for the Blue Jays. Colby Rasmus was initially in the lineup in center field. He was a late scratch. Davis takes over in left. Ghost moves to center. Moises Sierra is in right. Laurie and Reyes on the left side of the diamond. Goins and Lynn on the right side. And J.P. Arcidi is behind the plate, making his 107th start of the season.
Rajay gets the start out there, puts some speed with the scratch of Rajay Davis. Ghost goes back to center.
Upstairs, Manny Machado. Machado collected his 50th double of the season in his first at bat yesterday. He also knocked his 14th home run out of the ballpark in the third. Pops this one in the air into center. Ghost moves to his right. Markakis thought about tagging and then decides he can't advance, so he goes back to first. One down. Markakis checking with Wayne Kirby to see if that might have been deep enough to advance. Kirby said, no, not in this situation. So now you're dealing with a 50 home run hitter, Chris Davis. 41 doubles and 50 homers. What a tough hitter. .295 average, and he's hitting .500 against Mark Burley.
How about that on base percentage? Almost .380 for Chris Davis. And we talked about it in the opening that both Davis and Jones, the on-deck hitter, have been tough against Mark Burley and the Blue Jays over the last couple of seasons.
Chris Davis has hit 16 home runs against the Jays the last 2 seasons. He's also led all hitters with 34 RBIs. Adam Jones is right behind him with 14 home runs. The next highest total is 9 by Josh Reddick of the A's. Gives you an idea just how dominant these two have been against the Blue Jays.
You know, and it's not just the home runs. I mean, that's the byproduct of great at-bats. I think for both Davis and Jones, they're good hitters. Davis at .295, Jones at .293. Sometimes you have to trade power and production for batting average, but you don't have to do that with these two guys.
Chris Davis has hit .362 against the Blue Jays over the last 2 seasons. Adam Jones, .395. So they are more than just sluggers. 1-2, 1 out. Blue Jays playing the shift against Davis. Burley keeps it inside. Another good example of location is so much more important than velocity.
Yeah, that fastball right there, just barely 84 miles an hour. But you can see on that pitch tracks that he's keeping everything on the inner half. He's paying attention. He got beat by Davis earlier this year in July back in Camden Yards on a pitch that was out away from him. So I think he wants to really concentrate on either throwing a bad breaking ball or jam him.
He went around and strikes him out. The pitch is inside, set up that check swing strikeout. 2 down. Still not out of the woods. Adam Jones steps in the box with a man at first and 2 out. And the story continues for these two sluggers. Jones, the last 26 games in this ballpark, has really hit the ball well.
.350. Again, a great batting average. Not just the home runs and the production, with the ability to hit the ball to left field, to right field, wherever. He too hit a home run against Mark Burley on a pitch that was down and away. Great plate coverage.
Pitch inside off the plate. Adam Jones, now 28 years old, truly in the prime of his career. There's a base hit into center field. Marquez takes a look at Ghost and stops at second base. So Jones continues to hit well. It sounds like it might have been around the label.
Might have broke his bat, but gets himself a base hit. Burley, that's a cutter on the inner half, and he inside outs it into right center field. Mark gave up a lot of base hits in his last start against the Los Angeles Angels, 12 base hits. So he'll pitch in and out of trouble.
Danny Valencia moves up into the 5th spot behind Jones. Valencia has been down in the order. He was 8th in yesterday's game and the same on Friday night. Breaking ball as Burley jumps ahead. Valencia and Burley have faced each other a lot. Valencia came up with the Minnesota Twins while Mark Burley was in Chicago with the White Sox. So Danny Valencia has 20 at-bats against Mark Burley. He's 5 for 20.
And he is in there. He's been swinging a hot bat, but really raking left-handers this year. But Showalter staying with the hot hand in Valencia, especially with the lefty.
Valencia is hitting .380 against lefty pitching with 4 home runs. So Buck Showalter says, why not stay with the hot hand? Two and one. The Orioles scored in the first in yesterday's game. They took a 1-0 lead, and the Blue Jays came right back in the bottom half and scored 2 of their own. Just the 39th game of the season for Danny Valencia. 2 and 1, 2 outs, 2 on. Burley gets him to reach for that pitch up and away.
I think that's important for Mark Burley to get the Oriole batters. We call it swing mode. Be close enough around the plate where you get him swinging, and I think that'll make his cutter. I think it'll make his changeup much more effective this afternoon. He'll have problems when he's facing those very patient teams like the Red Sox and the Yankees, forcing him back into the strike zone.
2 and 2. Pulled foul. You can see Valencia is in swing mode.
Take a look at the scouting report for Mark Burley. You're going to see a little bit of everything when Mark is on the mound. I think the cutter is a very important pitch to right-handers. Cutters in, changeups away. That's how he's going to have to face the right-handers. He'll just have to reverse that against the lefties. Thinking about getting them to swing on pitches on the inner half and then drop that curveball on them.
Another 2-2 pitch. Pulled way foul down the left side. Burley loves to work quickly. We all know that. And he just feels like he keeps the pressure on the hitter. Never really giving the hitter any extended break, time to regroup and refocus. On the ground, Goins at second. To Lynn, the inning is over. The Orioles stranded pair. Blue Jays will send Reyes to the plate, bottom of the first, followed by Brett Lawrie and Edwin Encarnacion, looking to win the series against the Orioles. usual, Jose Reyes, and then Brett Lawrie has moved into the second spot. Edwin Encarnacion is back in the lineup. And then Adam Lind, and Lind against Miguel Gonzalez. The Orioles started 6 for 13 with a pair of walks, and right behind him, Moises Sierra has had a great homestand. 9 for 17, over 500, and he has really swung the bat well, hitting it with a lot of authority.
26th start of the season for Miguel Gonzalez. This is his second year with the Orioles. In fact, he made his big league debut right here at Rogers Center. That was last May for the Baltimore Orioles. 153 innings this year. He's given up 22 home runs. He throws a lot of strikes. He's around the plate. I think the Blue Jays will be wise to go up there very aggressively.
Well, the defense is one of the best in baseball. Michael Morse gets the start. He was acquired from Seattle a couple of weeks ago. Jones and Markakis, Gold Glovers in center and right, respectively. Manny Machado is going to win a Gold Glove before too long. Hardy already has one to his credit. Ryan Roberts and Chris Davis on the right side, and the Gold Glover Matt Wieters behind the plate for Miguel Gonzalez.
Orioles are 4-0 when Mike Morse starts in left field for him. Nate McLeod 0 for 7 in his career versus Burley.
Reyes goes after the first pitch. Adam Jones jogs over to his left. 1 pitch, 1 out for Gonzalez.
Well, it sounded like Jose Reyes heard my scouting report that you're going to have to go up there swinging because he's around the plate. He'll show you a little bit of everything. Miguel Gonzalez, changeup, curveball, fastball, slider, and a splitter. And for the most part, he throws strikes. Just 47 walks this year in 153 innings.
Brett Lawrie batting second for the second consecutive game. Laurie's 2 for 8 in the series. His average at 254. If Miguel Gonzalez were left-handed, he'd be a crafty lefty. But you don't see too many crafty righties, but he certainly fits the mold. Changes speeds, throws a lot of strikes, and really messes with your timing. That's driven toward the alley, and that's going to be caught by Markakis. Markakis got a good jump, and we talked about this tight defense. The Orioles have committed just 43 errors on a record pace defensively.
They've also turned 149 double plays. This ball leaves the bat. That's extra bases. But the Orioles, at their outfield, they really bunch the middle. Take away those extra base hits in the gap. That looked like a double for sure, but Markakis runs it down. Tell you, if you're going to get a hit against this team, you're going to have to earn it. They play that good of defense.
Edwin Encarnacion. If you don't think defense translates into wins, the Orioles have allowed just 26 unearned runs this year. For comparison's sake, the Houston Astros have allowed 73 unearned runs. That's the most in the American League. The Blue Jays have allowed 69.
Isn't that the name of the game?
Pitching and defense.
Run prevention.
Well, plus when you play defense like the Orioles, it gives the pitcher so much confidence. When a pitcher goes out there, he's hoping that you put it in play. Give my defense a chance to help me out. Encarnacion, high fly ball to center. Jones moves underneath it. Quick inning for Miguel Gonzalez. Just 8 pitches, and the Blue Jays go down in order.
Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2014 Honda Odyssey, the world's first minivan with a built-in vacuum. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Mark Burley misses, or he catches the outside corner. J.J. Hardy, the shortstop. Burley working very quickly again. Ball and a strike. J.J. Hardy was on base 3 times in yesterday's game. He walked, reached on an error, and singled. Bouncing ball. Big hop for Reyes at short. Takes his time. 1 down.
You know, that's exactly what I think Mark Burley's going to have to do to the right-handers, and the right-handers are going to have to roll over pitches like that. A little change up, down and away, a little sinker, and instead of hitting the ball the other way, they roll right over.
Sal Fasano talking with Josh Tolley, and Fasano looks like he's looking at a scouting report, possibly how you're going to pitch these Oriole hitters. Never bad to go over the report with a catcher during the course of a game. You might see something that contradicts the scouting report. Hey, he's not standing in the same spot. His hands are in a different spot. You just never know when hitters are going to make adjustments.
You as a catcher know when a guy is cheating to a fastball in the inner half.
You should. Yep.
I mean, you could feel that. You could sense it.
Yeah, you can see the way he's set up in the box. You watch his feet. You watch his body. See how his hips are. Ball in the strike. Leaders fouls it up.
How about if a guy, a batter, is deep in the batter's box, 1 at bat, and then the next time up, you throw him change-ups down and away, or you keep the ball away. Next time up, he's closer towards the pitcher. You can pick up on that?
Yeah, you sure can. Something you always see is where he is in the box. These days, hitters rarely move around much anymore. Years ago, hitters moved from pitch to pitch, from at bat to at bat. That's going to get down for a base hit for Wieters. He one-handed it and comes up with the base hit. 3rd hit for the Orioles. Years ago, hitters used to move back and forth in the box, and right here, Wieters hits a pretty good pitch, so not all base hits are mistakes.
That's a good pitch, and we'll watch Wieters next time up if he moves around. And it's true. Billy Buckner used to tell me that he would go up there and have 4 different stances in 4 different spots in a batter's box in one game,
depending on the pitcher he was facing or how he was faring. Michael Morse playing in left field today, and Pat mentioned the Orioles haven't lost with Morse starting in left field since he's joined the ball club. Well, Morse was a big-time prospect with Seattle early on. Went back to Seattle after a good run in Washington.
Had a big season for the Washington Nationals. Nate McLouth 0 for 7 in his career versus Mark Burley. So Buck Showalter wanted to get a little bit more home run pop in that lineup, and Morse is a good pickup.
Morse has got a long swing. He is one of those guys who's got terrific power. We saw him put on quite a display during batting practice over the last 3 days here. He's 31 years old now. He was originally drafted by the White Sox. Came to the big leagues with Seattle in 2005, and over the course of 4 seasons played 107 games for the Mariners. Then he went to Washington, and he really blossomed in Washington. He had 67 home runs in his 4 years with the Nationals. 2011, he had 303 with 31 bombs and 95 RBIs.
Buck Showalter will find matchups, and this, I think, is a good matchup that favors the Orioles. You mentioned that long swing by Morse. Well, Burley doesn't throw the ball that hard, or he doesn't have that wipeout slider or splitter or pitch like that that can give people like Morse problems. He'll have time to react to pitches, and if you make a mistake, he can hit it in the second deck.
Fouls this one down the right side. Morris has always been prone to the strikeout. He's had a 4 strikeout day this year, back in April against the White Sox. He had a 3 strikeout game against the Blue Jays and R.A. Dickey out in Seattle on August 5th. Ground ball. Brett Laurie inside the bag at third. Throws on the run. Morris is retired. 2 down. Fans, if you want your baseball questions answered by a team of experts, email asktheexperts@sportsnet.ca and keep your eye out for the home hardware Ask the Experts segment later on in the game. So there are 2 outs. Matt Waiters is in scoring position at second. Brian Roberts is the batter. Roberts is a switch hitter. He's batting 9th. He's got a career .283 average against Mark Burley. First pitch strike. No score, top of the second inning. The Orioles looking for their second road series win of the season against an American League East opponent. This is popped up. Lind will give chase down the right side. He's got room and makes a nice catch. Adam Lind, good concentration. He got on the warning track and makes the catch to end the inning. The Orioles have stranded 3 so far against Mark Burley. Play to end the inning down the right field line in foul ground. And Munenori Kawasaki and Kevin Pillar just being good teammates. How about a hug? Okay, a little massage, get yourself loose for the game. You never know when you might get into a ball game. So Munenori Kawasaki saying, very good, thank you very much. Season will be over before you know it, and Kevin Pillar will be on his way to Venezuela. He's going to leave the United States and go to Caracas, Venezuela on October 8th to play winter ball. Something he's looking forward to. Buck Showalter told us about T.J. McFarland, one of his left-handed pitchers, how he wants to pitch winter ball to get a chance to extend his innings and get ready for next year.
Isn't that great when a young player wants to just keep playing baseball, keep making himself better? Tell you what, it'll open up the eyes of the brass.
It sure made an impression on Buck Showalter. He said, I'd like to play winter ball. Can you help me out? Adam Lind, he made that great defensive play to end the inning. He'll lead things off. It'll be Lind, Sierra, and Davis against Miguel Gonzalez. Gonzalez was originally signed by the Angels. He went from the Angels to the Boston Red Sox in a Rule 5 deal. Never really made it to the big leagues. He made his debut, as Pat mentioned, pitching with the Orioles.
You never know where you're going to find pitching. The Red Sox let him go, and the Orioles just picked him up. Probably just to fill out their depth within their organization, and he came up and did a great job for them.
Well, I think that's kind of what the Blue Jays had hoped for in the offseason when they signed so many minor league free agents. They brought in a lot of guys into spring training hoping they would catch lightning in a bottle. The Orioles have done that with Miguel Gonzalez. Gonzalez is 29 years old.
Now he's trying to win 10 games for this team. Pitched well in the playoffs, too.
Lynn with a 2-2 count. Gonzalez started game 3 of the ALDS against the Yankees and pitched 7 strong innings. He allowed just 5 hits and earned run and struck out 8, but didn't factor in the decision. He made his postseason debut at New York. High and deep and gone. Way back for Adam Lynn. Number 21.
Boy, that thing got out of here in a hurry. For his career, Adam Lynn is now hitting .500 against Miguel Gonzalez. And another good matchup, I think, that favors the Blue Jays. A left-handed hitter, and he just can't get that breaking ball where he wanted to. And Lynn let him know it, too, by the sound of his bat. It looked like an off-speed pitch. Another changeup. High changeup, and Adam Lynn jumped all over that, hit it in the second deck. They might have to start rethinking about those changeups to the lefties of the Blue Jays.
Colby Rasmus hit a changeup out of the ballpark. The difference in the game yesterday, Lynn hits a long home run, no doubt about it, in Gonzalez's mind. Boy says Sierra fouls it back. Lynn had his personal hit streak against the Orioles snapped at 17 games yesterday, went 0 for 3. But he has started a new streak in his first at bat this afternoon.
That's how you do it. First inning, first at bat, and go deep.
Inside. Buck Showalter was talking about this ballpark. He said, I don't remember this ballpark as being so hitter friendly when it first opened up. But the last couple of years, the ball's been flying out of here at record pace. 2-1. Off the end of the bat.
It's not just the home runs that are flying. It's where those home runs are flying. Look where this one goes to right field. Dad catches it on one hop and hands it to the little girl. How awesome is that?
That's awesome. Great day at the ballpark, and a young lady with a beautiful souvenir. This is popped up. Ryan Roberts backs into the outfield, makes the catch. 1 down. Well, Lynn with home run number 21 has become one of 5 Blue Jays to hit 20 home runs this season. Blue Jays are the only team in baseball that have 5 20 home run hitters on their club. The Orioles are right behind them, tied with the Braves, the Rockies, and the Nationals.
On this homestand alone, we've seen 2 Blue Jays join that 20 home run club. Encarnacion, Bautista, Lynn, Rasmus, and Aaron Sebia.
Colby Rasmus hit his 20th yesterday. He was scratched from the original lineup, and that's why Rajay Davis gets a start. We spoke to John Gibbons about Rasmus, said he's just kind of overall soreness because he hasn't played for a while. So Rasmus is out of the lineup at least to start this game. Rajay chases one up and in. We have seen some milestone hits in this series. Manny Machado hit his 50th double yesterday. His series opener on Friday night. Chris Davis hit his 50th home run. We have seen Rasmus hit his 20th home run. And Lynn his 20th as well. That time of the year, a lot of milestones. You're going to see players establishing new career highs, setting milestone marks for hits, home runs, and RBIs.
And Adam, 8th player in Blue Jay history to have at least 4 different seasons of 20 home runs. Carlos Delgado is the leader. He did it 9 times. 9 times he had a 20 home run season. Joe Carter 7, Vernon Wells, George Bell, Jesse Barfield, Fred McGriff, and Jose Bautista 4 each.
2-2. Tapped at home plate. Chris Davis, he reached the 130 RBI plateau, becoming the 6th Oriole in franchise history to surpass 130 ribbies for a season. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Another foul back.
That was like 2 really good seasons for me. 130 ribbies.
How about that? The all-time high for the franchise, which includes the St. Louis Browns. The Oriole franchise record is 155. Ken Williams did it for the Brownies in 1922. Miguel Tejada, shortstop, had 150 in 2004. Davis hits a high fly ball to left. J.J. Hardy roams out into the outfield and makes the catch. 2 down.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice. And by the 2014 Honda Odyssey, the world's first minivan with a built-in vacuum. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Quiet Sunday afternoon down at Lake Ontario. Roof is closed. Outside it is 18 degrees, but there is a chance of rain. Ryan Goins batting an even .250 for the season. Goins making his 17th start at second base since joining the Blue Jays. Goins is playing in his 21st game this afternoon. A great experience for a young player to come up and finish up with the team in September. First of all, you get little experience and you get a measurement of where you stand against big league pitching.
It can be an eye-opener, too, if it's the first time that you have been in the big leagues. Game's fast, pitchers are a little bit sharper, and it can either give you confidence, or it can say, you can say, "Oops, I better turn it up a notch," or I don't think I was as good as I thought I was. These guys can really play up here.
You can see how Goins has struggled recently after getting off to a real hot start. Here's the 1-2 pitch. He hits this one down the right side. This is trouble. Markakis isn't going to get it. Plays it on the hop, and Goins is headed for second. Ryan Goins hits the 2-out double, his 4th double of his young big league career.
But you know what you want to see from young players over the course of the month, or if it's the second time that they have come in September? Let me see some improvement. Let me see some adjustments. Are you making those? Are you a smart player? I think Ryan Goins is a smart player. I think he's going to be very good. Takes that ball in on him and pulls it. We've seen him hit the ball up the middle or the other way. That time he pulls that breaking ball. Let me see some improvement. Improvement like Moises Sierra has shown from last year to this year.
J.P. Arancibia with 2 outs. He goes after the first pitch and pops it up. Roberts, the second baseman, backpedals into the outfield, and the inning is over, but the Blue Jays take the lead on Adam Lynn's 21st home run of the season. Jays up 1-0. to Gwen Buttle of Mississauga, who turns a very young 90 years old today. I know Gwen is a great Blue Jays fan, and we want to send along our best wishes to you. Hope you're enjoying your afternoon, and we thank you for watching the Blue Jays. Happy birthday, Gwen. And so far, Adam Lind has given Gwen a birthday present, a home run, and the Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Top of the order, Nick Markakis singled against Mark Burley his first time up. Two for two, almost in the same spot. So Markakis is aboard for Manny Machado. We mentioned he hit his 50th double here yesterday. And look at this list. The age 20 seasons for some great players, past and present. Alex Rodriguez in 96 with the Seattle Mariners hit 54. Manny Machado this year with the Orioles hit 50. Vada Pinson in 59 with the Cincinnati Reds. And, of course, the great Ted Williams in Boston. Quite a collection of great hitters.
Great names to be associated with, I guess, if you're Manny Machado. You know, he is only the fourth third baseman in the history of Major League Baseball to have 50 doubles in one season.
One of those guys really surprised me. I'd forgotten about Jeff Cirillo having a 50 double season.
George Kell did it for the Tigers in 1950, and of course the great Pete Rose, 1978, had 50 doubles as a third baseman for the Reds.
Manny Machado shows bunt and fouls it back. Manny Machado is certainly more than just a good young player. I mean, he's a good player in every aspect of the game. He's going to win a Gold Glove one day, and it might be this year. According to many of the Orioles coaches, managers, and players, they say he has had a gold caliber season defensively. And right there, he's caught looking at strike three. One down. Fans, it's time now for our BlackBerry Sneak Peek stat of the game, brought to you by the new BlackBerry Z10 and Q10, built to keep you moving.
Well, you're in a ballpark that gives up a lot of home runs, and you've got some home run hitters in this lineup. Most home runs over the last 2 years, we've got two of them in this ballgame right here. Chris Davis has hit 83. Right behind him, Edwin Encarnacion, the leader, Miguel Cabrera. Better make some good pitches in this game.
Davis was out on strikes his first time up. Davis is a big man with a lot of strength. He doesn't have to pull the ball by any means to hit the ball out of the ballpark. With his 50th home run, he became just the third major leaguer to compile 40 doubles and 50 home runs in the same season. He joins Babe Ruth and Albert Bell as the only hitters to accomplish that. He gets jammed on that inside pitch. Reyes, the shortstop, makes the catch. 2 down. So Burley gives up the leadoff single to Nick Markakis, and that's one thing that Burley has done very well. But watch where this pitch is to Davis. Ties him up.
Yep. Just can't extend. He has hit 14 opposite field home runs this year. So he has power the other way. I think you just have to keep it in there, and you'll be a lot better off.
I think the one thing that all good hitters really have trouble with is guys that never establish a pattern, don't fall into a pattern. And Adam Jones is a guy that has hit Blue Jays well. And Burley's going to mix it up as much as possible. And this is a great opportunity to look at pitch tracks and watch what Burley does trying to retire Jones.
You got to figure he's going to go in and out, back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth. And probably not throw two pitches back to back, the same pitch.
Well, pitchers talk about pitching east and west and north and south, which means in and out and front to back. So he changed speeds to mess with the hitter's ability to hit the ball out in front. took something off that big curveball and gets ahead of Jones. 1-2. Fights it off. Look where that pitch is, off the plate inside. But Jones, with 2 strikes, has to protect.
It's a great cutter. The ball really cuts, and now Burley can throw it inside. He can throw it outside if he wants to. He can throw a changeup here if he wants to also, since he's established inside.
Check in on Markakis just in case. Markakis doesn't run as much as he once did. He has just 1 steal in 3 attempts. He's a good base runner. He's very adept at going first to third.
I thought for sure when he first came up that he was going to be a 20 home run, 20 stolen base type of player. But the stolen base has been a big part of what he does over the last couple of seasons.
One and 2. Drilled down the left side, but that's going to hook out of play into the seats. You mentioned the stolen base for Markakis. His career high was 18 way back in 2007. He's only had 3 double-digit steal seasons, so he's more of a line drive, gap-to-gap hitter and a guy that can go first to third. But as we see today, Buck Showalter can use him in many different spots in the batting order.
First, second, third. That's basically where he has been his whole career, one of those spots.
Jones lays off that pitch up and away. But look at pitch tracks. He's all over the map. Not throwing him anything out over the heart of the plate. Made 1 pitch on the outside corner. Everything else has been off the plate. And it's still a 2-2 count. Missed badly there. Full count, 2 outs. Lind is going to hold Markakis at first just to cut his lead down. He'll be off on the pitch. Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. There goes Markakis, and Jones takes ball 4. So Jones wins that battle with Burley. He works him for the 2-out walk. But Burley knows enough that discretion is the better part of valor. He pitched around Jones, who has absolutely worn out the Blue Jays, nearly 400 for the last 2 seasons.
That's why you need hot hitters behind those 2, Davis and Jones. And Valencia has been as hot as anybody. But you get a fresh count.
Base hit left side. Markakis is going to jog around third. He'll score. Jones is being waved around third. Davis to Reyes. And there's no relay throw. Danny Valencia jumps on the first pitch. And the Orioles have erased the Blue Jays lead. Danny Valencia with his 3rd RBI of the series.
Been raking the left-handers, and just like that, 2 outs. Something that has been missing by the Orioles. Hitting with runners in scoring position, coming up with some big base hits. This ball hit hard right over the head of Brett Lawrie. And Rajay Davis can't get over there to cut the ball off. If he cuts the ball off, he holds Jones at third base, but it gets by him. Goes to the wall, and Jones can score from first.
Danny Valencia. RBI is number 20 and 21 for Valencia. His 2nd and 3rd RBIs of the series. J.J. Hardy, the shortstop, takes it downstairs. It's a ball and a strike. You mentioned a great point about the Orioles. They have really struggled with runners in scoring position. 2 for 11 in the game yesterday, losing that game 4-3.
During his scrum today, that's what it was all about, hitting with runners in scoring position.
Brett Lawrie throws one across the diamond. He's scooped out by Lind, but the Orioles have taken the lead. Go to the bottom of the 3rd. It's a 2-1 Oriole lead. Special tribute to Canadian Forces. Today, they salute Master Corporal Ismail Mian. Master Corporal Mian has served as a detachment commander and section commander on numerous exercises and domestic operations, including Operation Cadence. Today, he is our Sunday salute. Congratulations to Master Corporal Mian. Great opportunity. Blue Jays are always very honored to have the Canadian Forces in attendance in their Sunday home games. Right now we move to the bottom of the third, and the Jays trail by a run.
Boy, just like that, they jumped ahead with a home run by Lynn. They had another guy on, couldn't pick him up, and then a big clutch 2-out hit by the Orioles, giving them the lead.
That has been the case for the Blue Jays the last several games. They have had leads early, and they haven't been able to shut down their opponent. So Anthony Ghost, the number 9 hitter this afternoon, will try to get something going against Miguel Gonzalez. Upstairs. Two and 0. Ghost needs to get on base, obviously. This is a great combination for Ghost to be in the 9th spot and Reyes in the leadoff spot. Back-to-back guys that can run. Of course, Ghost can fly, and Reyes has been swinging a hot bat. So Anthony needs to figure out a way to get aboard.
You know what else it does is when it turns over the lineup, you get him on, Reyes on, Laurie on in front of your big RBI guys. Edwin Encarnacion's got some speed to work with if Ghost gets on.
3-0. There's a strike right on the corner. Dale Scott's the home plate umpire. He is the veteran crew chief of this umpiring crew. Goes, hits it to first, gloved by Davis. Steps on the bag, 1 down.
The 2014 Honda Odyssey, the world's first minivan with a built-in vacuum. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Back to the top of the order. Reyes flied out his first time up. Gonzalez is not going to overpower you. He'll pitch with his fastball at 91-92. And he's going to try to locate that fastball and get you to chase some of his borderline pitches.
Well, he has a lot of things that pitches that he could use out there. We showed you in that scouting report. He's got a little bit of everything. Right now, he looks just a little off in his command.
Changeup sailed off the plate outside. Matt Wieters, we mentioned what a good catcher he is. Not only does he play every day and deliver with the bat, but he is a great leader behind the plate. This is pop back. You watch how quickly Wieters gives a sign and how often the pitcher just agrees and rocks and fires. But Wieters is well prepared. He does a great job of studying his opponents, and when he puts down a sign, rarely do pitchers shake him off.
You know who he is for me? Modern day player. Carlton Fisk. Tall, smart, long arms, big legs. Fisk was that way too behind the plate. I mean, he ran the show back there for those great Boston and Chicago teams he played for.
Ground ball. Roberts at second base. That's a good comparison. Fisk, of course, is in the Hall of Fame. Wieters has to have a few more seasons that he's put together. Two-time Gold Glover and All-Star already. Has helped his team make it to the postseason. Of course, to me, that's the benchmark of a Hall of Fame type player, is getting into the postseason.
Get there, do something in it. We all know what Carlton Fisk did in the playoffs.
2 down for Brett Laurie. Laurie lined out to Markakis in the alley in right center. I think that's one thing that really gets overlooked when voters weigh Jack Morris and his Hall of Fame credentials. The fact that he was a postseason player and a champion. I think that speaks volumes. And even the great Bob Gibson said, you know, you can measure a guy by his wins and losses, but I think the true test for a Hall of Famer is how many times did he win? Did he help his team into the postseason? Four times Jack Morris played in the World Series and pitched maybe the best World Series game of all times.
4 rings he has. 2 with here in Toronto, the 1 in Minnesota, and of course the one with that great 1984 Detroit Tiger team. I'm with you.
2-1, 2 outs. Inside, 3-1. Encarnacion waits on deck. Blue Jays having to play catch up again.
Boy, you can look for one pitch right here if you're Brett Lawrie. You know he's got to come to you. You don't want to face Encarnacion with a runner aboard. Look for that one pitch.
He drives this ball to right. Markakis retreats, turns around, and makes the catch in front of the warning track. Blue Jays retired in order in the 3rd. We'll go to the 4th. Orioles have a 2-1 lead. National Kids Cancer Ride, a 17-day cross-country cycling event raising money for kids with cancer. It's currently running through Toronto, and we're pleased to be joined now by the CEO of Sears Canada, Calvin McDonald. And Calvin, you've been riding today too. Congratulations on your efforts during this ride. Tell us about the ride and where it started and where it's going to finish.
Well, it started in Vancouver last Thursday. Riders average anywhere from 250 to 300 kilometers a day. And it will end on the 21st in Halifax. So we're just a little bit more than halfway through. And I joined the riders in Regina on Sunday and ridden 1,500 kilometers over the last 7 days. And it's been an incredible experience.
That's awesome. And tell us about Sears' involvement and what your goal is as a corporation to try to help out these kids with cancer.
This is our 6th year on the ride, and we've been working with Coast to Coast to deliver the ride. And we raise about $1.3 million a year. 100% of the proceeds go to fight the battle against kids' cancer. And that's really our mandate, is to keep fighting until we're cancer-free and children are able to live the lives that they deserve to live.
Tell us how it all got started, how you got involved with it.
Jeff Rushton, who founded with some others the Coast to Coast, is an avid cyclist. And really came up with the idea of a coast-to-coast ride to raise money, and it fit well with what we want to do. The Sears Foundation donates over $5 million a year to local charities with really 2 causes. One is pediatric oncology, and the other is youth development through supporting a Boys and Girls Club. So it fit with our sort of mandate of a foundation, and we're delighted to sign up. And through the network of stores, we go coast to coast. We show up at midnight. Store associates are waiting for us. They have the showers ready for us. They have breakfast for us in the morning. We couldn't do it without them, and it's been a great partnership.
Tell us about your day on the road and how your day begins and how you were able to accomplish it. That's quite a commitment physically.
It has been for all the riders. We wake up at 5:30 in the morning. We're on the road by 7. And usually put in 8-9 hours. There's a ton of volunteers, a lot of saddle sores and massage therapists to get the riders through. But determination, it's a physical, emotional roller coaster ride, but one that I know that people leave feeling that they've not only accomplished something, but they've learned something about themselves and in life. It's changed them.
Any special training that you have to do, or can anybody just get involved?
Anybody can get involved. We have over 200 riders today riding to Yonge and Dundas with us with a police escort. So there's day-long rides, there's relay rides. The 29 national riders that are doing the coast-to-coast, they put a lot of hours in on the bike. You have to prepare. But if there's a determination, you can get it done. I mean, you learn a lot watching children that have to battle cancer and have to grow up, and they have a different point of view of let's just keep swimming. And as we go and have those tough times, we remember why we're battling and what they have to go through, and it makes our challenges seem pretty minuscule in comparison.
Calvin, how can the viewers help out in this effort to contribute to the charity?
Well, we're accepting donations. As I've indicated, through the 6 years, we've raised close to $7 million. This year, we're hoping a 1.3, so they can go to SearsKidsCancerRide.ca, make a donation. You'll see the blogs of the 29 national riders. They blog every day. There's video, pictures, and any donation would be very much appreciated.
How about the rest of the ride? What's the plan?
They finish in Halifax. There's a huge, sort of emotional ending to the ride. Tonight, I know many riders are from Toronto, so they'll meet family today at Yonge and Dundas. And their riding continues tomorrow in Pickering.
That's awesome. What a great effort. And certainly it has to be kind of a bonding effort for all of you people involved with Sears as well, because it gets you outside, gets you indoors, and you're doing it for such a great cause.
It is. I mean, one of the things I've enjoyed the most is, one, you meet riders you otherwise would never have met. You understand what brought them to this, how they've been touched with cancer. That's emotional. Then at the store, associates, it gives me an opportunity to meet associates I otherwise would not have met as we go through small communities, small dealer stores, agent or full line. So overall, Sears is incredibly proud to be part of it, and it's a great cause.
Well, I know Sears and the Blue Jays always unite, and the Blue Jays have their Sears shop at Yonge and Dundas in the Eaton Center, so they're always working out. Calvin, thank you so much for your time, and especially thank you for your effort and your physical contribution. That's a lot of commitment. I know it is.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations on a great effort, and we'll be rooting for you, and hopefully everybody will log on and make contributions online as well. Calvin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Guys. Finish strong.
Thank you.
Calvin McDonnelly, CEO of Sears Canada, part of the Sears National Kids Cancer Ride. It's going on today. 17-day cycling event. Its goal is to raise $1.5 million for kids' cancer. What a great opportunity. We're in the fourth inning. The Orioles have a 2-1 lead. Nick Markakis at the plate with runners at second and third. Mark Burley has now given up 7 hits. Markakis is already 2 for 2 against Burley.
He's trying to stay inside the ball, Markakis, and try and take the ball right back through the middle like he did his first 2 times up. Doesn't want to overcommit against Mark Burley.
Stays out over the plate and fouls it out of play.
And he's upset with himself, Markakis. He thought he should have hit that ball. It was a breaking ball that he was looking for. Just his reaction and his attempt at that ball, you could tell he was looking for a breaking ball, got it and missed it, fouled it back.
Morris at third, Roberts at second. Orioles leading 2-1. Full count. Inside. Burley tried to go front door with a breaking ball. Dale Scott didn't like it.
Boy, he's upset too. Thought he had him. He has had his troubles against the American League East. It's one of the toughest divisions in all of baseball. Just 1-6 with an ERA of 5.33 against the East. Everybody else has been outstanding. But you're pitching in smaller ballparks against loaded lineups. You can make it tough on anybody.
Manny Machado takes a strike on the outside corner. Machado was flying out and was caught looking at strike 3. Orioles trying to expand their lead.
Boy, 2 perfect pitches right there from Mark Burley.
As a hitter, Machado has to be thinking, why me? You just walked Markakis and missed. Now you make 2 perfect pitches. Burley'd love to get a ground ball to Reyes right here. 0-2, bases loaded, 1 out. Up and away. Fouled back. Made him reach for that outside pitch.
How about that for some plate coverage? They went back to the same spots where they got strikes 1 and 2, hoping that Machado would give up on it. But he is able just to foul it off. Take the power away from him. Keep that ball away, I think.
Power on deck in Chris Davis. There's an off-speed pitch, and Burley gets a big strikeout. Strikeout number 4 for Burley, the off-speed pitch, and Machado strikes out for a second time this afternoon.
He made an effort just to keep the ball away from him. Said if he's going to hit it, you're going to hit it weakly. Change up, and Machado strikes out for the second time. Great sequence that time by Mark Burley to get a big strikeout.
Well, he's handled Chris Davis so far. Davis is 0 for 2. And Burley throws strike 1. Blue Jays playing a different version of the shift with the bases loaded. Laurie stays at third, but well off the line. Reyes up the middle. There's Ryan Goins, the second baseman, way out in right. Lind hugging the line. I tell you what, Burley has made some great pitches to Chris Davis, and for pitchers around the league, note, got to crowd him.
Yep.
I don't care if you throw 82 or 102. Morris singled to short, led things off. Brian Roberts hit a double down the left field line, and Markakis walked. The bases are loaded. Stay in there.
Pretty soon you're going to get Chris Davis just opening up a little bit. You'll watch that front shoulder. If he senses that Mark Burley's going to stay in there, he'll start opening up that front shoulder a little bit. Then you got him. Then you can go away.
Stayed inside. I mean, look at that pitch. It's 4 inches off the plate inside, and Davis has to swing it. He's most assured of where the pitch is when it's out over the plate. And it can be 4 inches off the plate outside. He can hit it out of the ballpark.
Burley struck him out his first time up on a bad breaking ball.
After pounding him inside. This time he wouldn't chase. To me, this is the greatest confrontation in sports. Head-to-head battle between great hitter and good pitcher.
One-on-one. It's just you and that batter.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Davis wanted to, but he laid off. Now where do you go?
I don't know.
That's not the answer I was looking for.
Back inside. I think you got to go back inside. He's shown him a couple of breaking balls off the plate. I think you go back inside.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. The runners will be off on the pitch. Burley is set. 3-2. Up and in. Gets away from Aaron Seavey. It's ball 4, and Morris walks in. 2 walks in the inning. The Orioles have extended their lead. It's now 3-1, and Pete Walker's going to come out and give Burley a little breather.
This is un-Mark Burley-like in the sense that he's thrown a lot of pitches already, just the 4th inning. He's usually a quick worker, and he's got command and control, and he'll give up his share of base hits, but he'll find his way out of the inning. Right now, he's just lost it in this inning.
So just a chance for Burley to take a deep breath. Davis picks up the RBI on the bases loaded walk, and Adam Jones has been on base twice. He has singled and walked. He walked and scored in the third. Well, you know he's going to be hunting that first pitch.
And he might also be looking for location, too. He took Burley deep on a pitch down and away earlier this year.
First pitch swinging. Goins knocks it down from his knees. Saves a run. Ryan Goins continues to shine defensively. Right there, he saved at least one, maybe two runs for Mark Burley. Off the end of the bat, Goins gets a good jump, throws from his knees, and gets Adam Jones to leave the bases loaded. Mark Burley appreciative of the support. Provincial champions in attendance today. The Cambridge Cubs, the Wyoming Wranglers, the Mississauga North Tigers, Barrie Red Sox, and the Simcoe Giants are just a few of the teams that are here in attendance today. The Toronto Blue Jays are a proud supporter of amateur baseball across Canada. What a way to wrap up your summer of baseball, coming to a Rogers ball game right here at Rogers Center. The Orioles and the Blue Jays wrapping up their 3-game series. And congratulations to all the champions across the Ontario Provincial Championships.
Did you ever get a chance to do that when you were young? Put your uniform on and go to the ball game?
Candlestick Park.
Oh, weren't you so proud?
Nothing like it.
There's nothing like it.
Great way to spend the day with your teammates and all your parents, and just a great opportunity to go to the ballpark. The Orioles at Camden Yards have one of the best days I've ever seen. It's called Little League Day, and all the Little Leaguers make signs and parade around the warning track before the game, and it's terrific. And the Oriole players come out and stand in the dugout and high-five all the players as they walk around the warning track. It's a great day.
That would be special if you were that age and you got to go down on the field and meet the players.
It's like a parade. You know how they have the banner and they hold the big stick and the banner and everything, and the team walks behind it. It's pretty cool.
Teams used to have that banner day back in the olden days. Dinosaur.
Now we have the sausage race. Nick Markakis retires in Encarnacion. That's one down here in the fourth. Adam Lind in his first at bat hit his 21st home run of the season.
Looked like another changeup by one of the pitchers of the Orioles. Kobe Rasmus hit a couple of changeups out of here. Now Adam Lind, left-handed batters, they might have to use that fastball in the inner half and go soft, go away with that changeup. Well, that ball was hit hard by Lind.
There's a fastball strike. Lind trying to finish up strong. He's 8th on the all-time Blue Jays home run list. He now has 136 home runs. Now he's got another base hit. Lind is 2 for 2. 1 out single for Lind. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Fans running out of time to purchase their Blue Jays merchandise here at Rogers Center. After this, one more weekend of baseball for the 2013 season. Voices Sierra. Jumps on the first pitch. He singles to center. Back-to-back singles with 1 out. Sierra's 10th hit in this homestand.
Been a good one. Came right after him, fastball, tried to get the double play. You can see he's trying to sink that fastball. He was trying to get Sierra to roll over, but he was all over it quick to the ball and punches it into center field for his first hit.
One out. Rajay Davis, the left fielder, takes one down and in. Miguel Gonzalez does a good job of keeping his emotions in check. It probably has something to do with his background as a baseball player. He was let go and had to make a decision. Do I continue, push forward? The Orioles signed him as a minor league free agent, and he was one of those guys who just had to make good on his contract, and he's made the most of his time with the Orioles.
Yeah, had a great year last year. Trying to win his career high 10th win today.
Davis is late on that pitch and fouls it off.
That would give the Orioles 2 pitchers who've been here the whole season double digits in win. Last year they made the playoffs. They had 1 pitcher win at least 10 games.
Wei-Yin Chen won 12 games, and that's tough.
That was it.
Yeah.
They got contributions from a lot of pitchers.
Rajay Davis caught looking at strike 3. 2 outs. Now it's time for the smooth move of the game, brought to you by Bacardi Oakart. Smooth, spiced rum. Bacardi is a proud partner of the Toronto Blue Jays.
You know, if Ryan Goins is here for a while, we might be talking about him a lot for our smooth play. This is 2 runs for sure. As he takes away a hit from Adam Jones, saves Mark Burley a couple of runs, and you know his starter loves that. He shows great range and athleticism at second base.
2 outs. Lind at second, Sierra at first. Goins hit a double down the right field corner his first time. You know, defense is not just physical ability, not quickness and arm strength or foot speed. It's about intelligence. Watching what a hitter's doing, paying attention to how your pitcher is pitching to a batter, making adjustments, very subtle in the field. Goins appears to have that kind of makeup.
And a lot of times you'll see young kids come up here and they're overwhelmed with the big leagues and they just can't concentrate. They can't think things through. This guy acts like he's been here, and he shows that he's been here a long time.
Hits that one off the end of the bat.
He's not intimidated. He plays the game the right way. That's the thing that I've been very impressed with. And when you talk to him, you know he's thinking about the game of baseball.
Jose Reyes has noticed that right away. Reyes made it to the major leagues when he was 19 years old, and Reyes himself said, I was nervous. It was overwhelming. I was afraid to be on the big stage. He says, I see none of that in Ryan Goins. Goins is behind 0-2. Hits the ball off the end of the bat. Brian Roberts, the second baseman, will throw out his counterpart. The Blue Jays strand a pair. They trail 3-1. We head to the 4th. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. baseball. Listen to live audio, follow games pitch by pitch, and enjoy in-game video highlights. The app is available on the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, Android, and BlackBerry Z10. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. At Bat 13 is the official app of Major League Baseball. Great time to have at Bat 13 with all the pennant races going on. A lot of games will have an impact on the pennant race. Kansas City at Detroit. Philadelphia at Washington. Of course, Tampa Bay is at Minnesota, and Tampa Bay won a rain-abbreviated game last night. Matt Moore was taken out of the game because of a early rain delay, and Brandon Gomes picked up the win against the Twins. James Paxton beat the Cardinals last night. Adam Wainwright was on the mound in St. Louis. Seattle playing the spoiler role.
Pittsburgh is not going to go away. They want that division.
It's a high fly ball to left. Off the bat of Danny Valencia. Rajay Davis makes the catch. One down. Well, you talk about the Pirates, and of course last night they won a 2-1 ball game. Garrett Cole won that game for Pittsburgh, and there you can see the Pirates and the Cardinals in a flat-foot tie, and right behind them the Reds. Cincinnati last night beat the Brewers 7-3 in Milwaukee, and they are losing. Excuse me, let me check the Sunday score. Cincinnati is winning early on 2-0 over the Brewers in Milwaukee.
Well, I think no doubt that the Pirates are going to make it, but they're so close. I just think the experience of the Cardinals they were going to overtake the Pirates and win that division. But now Pirates, they want it. They don't want to have to play that one-game wild card deal. Who does?
No, nobody wants to be in that situation, and you just can't guarantee anything. You know, there's a lot of discussion now that wild card game should be a 2-out-of-3 series. I don't agree with that. I think you're pushing the season much later into the season as well. J.J. Hardy, nice grab by Laurie. Hot shot to the backhand side. He throws them out.
Well, I think you're doing those teams a favor getting them into the playoffs to begin with.
Exactly. If you want to have a best-of-5 series, win a division.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're doing them a favor. If you finish third in your division and you still make the playoffs, I think you got to earn your way in.
Yeah, and you go back to games where you misplayed a ball or didn't come up with a clutch hit and say, well, man, we lost by half a game. We have to play the wild card game. Tough. You're in the playoffs. Got your own fate. You go head-to-head with the other wild card team, and I love the fact that it's a win-or-go-home situation.
Cardinals played the Braves last year in the wild card, right? Cardinals beat the Braves on that controversial infield fly call. Then they beat Washington. They were in the championship game against the San Francisco Giants, and they were a wild card team. How exciting.
Yeah, Baltimore played Texas in the wild card game. And, you know, it's just such a great atmosphere. And Baltimore beat the Rangers 5-1 to send Texas home. Baltimore's catcher, Matt Wieters, makes a bid for an extra base hit. It's foul up against the wall down the left side.
Think about that, what you just said about Texas. They were in control the whole season in the American League West Division until the final day and lost the division, had to go play that one game, and were see you later in one day.
Yeah, I think one thing, too, that the one-and-done wild card game has done is it's really brought into focus the urgency of the end of the season. Texas just couldn't close out the A's. There's a line drive to right. Sierra makes the catch. Mark Burley has a 1-2-3 top half of the fifth to go to the bottom of the fifth. J.P. Arancibia will lead things off when we come back. In the TD Comfort Zone, our guests from Stollery Children's Hospital, courtesy of TD. Welcome to the ballpark on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. While over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse, our folks from Camp Uchigueas enjoying the ball game, and we hope you too are having a great time at the old ballpark. John Gibbons, whenever he walks down the end of the bench to see a starting pitcher, that means that we're out of the ball game, and Burley is done. No chance to win this game. He trails 3-1 after pitching 5 innings and closed in on that 100 pitch mark.
Yeah, finished with 99 pitches, so his afternoon is done. They could just get 5 innings out of Mark Burley this afternoon. So now the offense has to go to work.
So JP Arencibia will start things off. JP's average at 201. Takes a strike. Blue Jays with just 4 hits. It'll be Arencibia goes, and then top of the order, Jose Reyes. Breaking ball lifted in the air to right. Markakis moving in. Retires Arencibia, 1 down. So Anthony goes, the number 9 hitter. Well, step in the box.
Well, if you feel comfortable against Miguel Gonzalez, good time to drop a bunt down. Try and get something started here. He's been working with Dwayne Murphy just about every day on this homestand. Working on his bunting, working on his drag bunting. It's going to be a weapon for him, I think, once he learns how to do that. You have no idea the pressure that puts on an infield when you've got a guy like this who can both swing the bat, and when he learns how to drag bunt, how tough it is to defend against it.
It's a great weapon for any player. He rips this one foul down the right side. If a regular player playing during a full season got 1 bunt base hit a week, he would boost his average by 50 points.
250 to 300. There you go.
300 to 350.
350.
26 extra hits a year. I mean, if you break it down like that, it seems like I can come up with 1 bunt a week, can I? If you're an everyday player. I mean, just think of Rod Carew and how many batting titles he won because he could bunt. Not only is it the bunt that is an advantage, it's the fact you draw in the infield defense.
And you can get hits when you draw them in, like you draw in the third baseman and slash run by him, or you draw in the first baseman, even the second baseman. We watch second basemen come way in when you've got the threat of the bunt. Then that little dribbler through the right side makes its way into the outfield.
Certainly cuts down the infielder's range if there's a threat of a bunt. Who was the best bunter you played with? And I have an idea who that might be.
That's Brett Butler. I got a chance to play with Butler, and he worked at it. When he came up with the Cleveland Indians, he was out there every day in spring training, hitting and bunting buckets of baseballs to learn how to drag. He wasn't a very good bunter when he first came up to the big leagues. Didn't know how to. He was taught at the major league level and then made himself a good bunter, and he made himself an all-star.
There's a line drive into center for Anthony Gose. Comes on a 2-2 pitch. After this game this afternoon, Blue Jays will have Monday off, and then the New York Yankees are in town. It all starts Tuesday, September 17th. 3 night games in a row. Yankees in town for a final time this 2013 season. So if you want to get one last look at Mariano Rivera in person, make sure you get your tickets for the Yankees series. You can call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com to order your Yankee tickets or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. Anthony Gose at first. Reyes drives the ball to center field. Jones cruises back, makes the catch easily, and chases Gose back to first. Jones and his outfield mates work hard at their craft every day when they take batting practice. They throw to a base. Wayne Kirby, the first base coach and outfield coach, insists that they all throw to a base. I asked Nick Markakis about that. He said, I throw to second base every day just to get a feel for accuracy, carry on your baseball. And another thing, the entire Baltimore Oriole outfield has committed 2 errors all season.
And you don't think those two go hand in hand, you're nuts. You got to practice to be good. And even though they've got all the accolades, Wayne Kirby, that's him right there, puts each one of those outfielders through daily practice. All-Star Gold Glove. They still get out there and work.
Well, and you set standards, too. And Buck Showalter, he sets a high standard for his ball club, and he lets his players do just about whatever they want as far as they're executing on the field. Wayne Kirby is one of the big kidders on the team. He's on everybody about everything, but boy, when it comes to work time, he's all business.
Says no team's going to outwork my outfielders.
Laurie singles into right. Anthony Gose is turning around second, and he'll stop there. There's another indication of how much respect the Orioles outfield has. Markakis has only 7 assists this year because of that right there. Even fast guys don't run on him.
After years of 18, 19 outfield assists in one season, their reputation precedes them. Anthony Gose is as fast as anybody on the Blue Jays. But because Markakis charges the ball well, is accurate, and gets rid of it quickly, he can't go first to third.
Markakis has 82 career assists. So now it's first and second, 2 outs. Edwin Encarnacion has flied out twice. Roberts wants the throw to second. Put the tag on Gose. When infielders break into a bag, they will give the pitcher an open hand and give it to me. I want it. I think we got a shot at him, and that's what Roberts did.
The daylight play.
Perfect pitch on the outside corner. Edman is 0 for 9. It's coming back into the lineup. He had missed 4 straight days with a sore left wrist. They're still going to pitch him carefully, even though Lind has had a good series. Home run leaders in the American League. 2 of them in the ballpark. 2 of the top 3. Chris Davis and Edwin Encarnacion. Mark Trumbo was recently here. He was on here with the Angels on this homestand. You know, everybody talks about, well, everybody needs protection in the lineup. Everybody needs to protect their good hitters. Well, you know what? Good hitters, they're always going to be pitch tough. I don't care who's hitting behind them or how hot that hitter is.
That's human nature. Everybody knows of the big numbers of Encarnacion.
Again, that hand comes off the bat, and that left hand has been bothering him. To his credit, he knows he's not 100%.
Yep.
But he's in the lineup.
He's in the lineup, and he's a threat. And he won't cut down the swing. He still swings hard. But you got to figure when you watch that wrist is still bothering him.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Encarnacion asks for time. Edwin is a rare combination in that he hits for power. 36 homers this year, 42 last year. This year he has 82 walks and 61 strikeouts. That is something that really stands out in this day and age, when the strikeout isn't frowned upon as it once was.
21 more times he has walked than he has struck out. And how many times have we said it this year that he is a good 2-strike hitter? There it is right there. Just 61 strikeouts all season long. 527 at bats.
To give you an idea, we talk about home run hitters in this ballpark. Chris Davis has a strikeout this afternoon. He struck out 181 times compared to Encarnacion's 61. Just a different kind of hitter. Now, what would you rather have? I would rather have a guy that's going to be on base, and Davis has been on base, and you can't discount a thing about his season.
380 on base percentage. I'll take both of them. I'm going to be greedy. I want both of them.
2-2, 2 outs. Driven to right and deep. Markakis back on the track. He gets there and makes the catch. A stride short of the wall in right. Encarnacion gave it a ride. We'll go to the 6th. The Orioles lead it 3-1. And here comes the Home Hardware cleanup crew. Brought to you by Natura. Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly heating products. New pitcher into the ball game is the right-hander Chad Jenkins. He takes over for Mark Burley as Burley goes 5 innings and he is in line for the loss. He trails 3-1, and Jenkins making his 7th appearance of the season.
Sinker, slider, change-up for Jenkins, the reliever down in the minor leagues. Last worked 5 days ago.
Bouncing ball to third. Laurie has plenty of time, and Mike Morris is retired, 1 down. Well, Mark Burley makes the start. He throws 99 pitches, and his day has come to an end. 5 innings, 6 hits. He gives up 3 runs, 2 earned runs. He walked 3, struck out 4, and one of the hits that was earlier charged to Burley was changed to an error, and that was back in the 4th inning. Mike Morris was credited with a base hit. It was since changed to an error on the shortstop, Reyes.
And you take one of those earned runs off the board. He came into this game needing 10 2/3 innings pitched to get to that magical 200 innings for the 13th time in his career. He got about halfway there this afternoon.
Brian Roberts lines it to left. Rajay Davis makes the catch. 2 quick outs for Chad Jenkins. Nick Markakis has had a busy day. Leading off, he singled twice and walked. He scored a run in the 3rd. Markakis making a bid for another hit, denied by Anthony Gose. Boy, Gose got a good read on that play. Takes a hit away from Markakis. Chad Jenkins has a quick inning. Markakis making a bid for his third hit of the afternoon, denied by the speedy Anthony Gose. Honda Odyssey, the world's first minivan with a built-in vacuum. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Adam Lynn's first time up, leading off the second inning. Gets an off-speed pitch from Miguel Gonzalez and does this. Our drive of the game is Adam Lynn's 21st home run from the second deck in right field. Lynn putting on some power display this afternoon.
So Lynn having another good day to play. We'll start things off here in the third. Nate McLeod takes over defensively in left field. He takes over for Michael Morse, who started and is now out of the ball game. Lynn 2 for 2. Why not? Seeing it well, swing it. Took a good rip at that first pitch.
The way he looks right now, there's nothing that Miguel Gonzalez can throw up there that's going to get him out. He looks comfortable on every one of those pitches he has. Seeing it.
The grip on that bat. We don't see Lynn do that very often. He was off balance, off stride, and the bat goes all the way back to the backstop.
Yeah, Edwin Encarnacion, Rajay Davis, but not Adam Lynn. And see it slip right off of his bottom hand. He'll let go of the top hand to extend and finish his swing. But that bottom hand loses the grip.
1-2. The infield shifting around to the right side. Fouled straight back. Lynn for the season got off to a slow start. In April, in 19 games, he hit .244 with no home runs and 3 RBIs. His average jumped to .346 in May, but he still drove in just 8 runs. His best month of the season was in June, where he hit .350. With 7 homers and 22 RBIs.
Man, he was hot that month. He would go up there and he would see a lot of pitches. Wasn't afraid to hit with 1 strike. He had a big month.
Strike 3 called. Lynn knew it. That fastball on the outside corner gets him. Well, the Blue Jays wrap up this 3-game series against the Orioles. And then Tuesday they pick it up with the Yankees, and the Yankees are 79-70, and they're fading quickly. And they've had a lot of injuries of late. Brett Gardner might be done for the season. Red Sox, Blue Jays will go to Fenway Park and take on the league-leading Boston Red Sox. Then a one-game makeup game on Monday, September 23rd in Chicago, take on the White Sox. And then back to Baltimore, Orioles at Camden Yard. And finally, right back here to wrap it up, Tampa Bay will end the season series, and Buck Showalter's out with Richie Bancells, the trainer. Gonzalez walked behind the mound after that strikeout, and Wieters called out the manager and the trainer, and they're going to pull the plug. Gonzalez felt something, and they're not going to take any chances. You could see Richie Bancells turned right to Buck Showalter and said, let's get him out of here. So they're going to take Gonzalez out of the game. Looks like he's walking very awkwardly, like he might have a leg issue of some sort.
Let's see if we can see anything. It's a good pitch. Hard fastball that gets Lynn.
Yeah, there's that right groin. He's feeling inside his leg, and that's not a good sign.
Yeah, you can see it right there. That Wieters, he brought Wieters out. I saw Manny Machado come out and signal to bring the trainer out. So he is out. Kevin Gausman, the young player, will come in to finish it up and have plenty of pitches to get loose.
Another injury for the Orioles pitching staff. Kevin Gausman, the youngster, will be into the ballgame when we come back. Throwing a no-hitter through 4 2/3 against the Cubs. Tournament 12 is presented by New Era. Come see the future of Canadian baseball September 20th through the 24th right here at Rogers Center. Blue Jays Hall of Famer Roberto Alomar will host a showcase baseball tournament at Rogers Center, highlighting some of Canada's best amateur baseball players with college eligibility. Tournament passes are now available at bluejays.com/T12. The pitcher for the Orioles is Kevin Gausman. Rookie right-hander appeared in the ballgame on the opener. Gausman pitched the 6th inning and retired the side in order, including striking out Edwin Encarnacion to end the inning.
Very briefly, he's got a good fastball, young. Just drafted last year. He is 22 years old, won't turn 23 until January. He's got a very bright future for me. Didn't spend a lot of time in the minor leagues to develop it. Came up here, threw well at the beginning, and then teams got the scouting report on Gosman, so they put him out in the bullpen so Buck Showalter can limit when he can use him. But I think he's got a great future. Good fastball, decent-looking breaking ball, and an excellent changeup for a young player.
Buck Showalter can pick his spots to use Gosman, and that's what he's done right here. The injury to Miguel Gonzalez appeared to be a groin injury. So Moises Sierra will step in. And Gosman making his 15th appearance. He's made 5 starts for the Orioles. Sierra, he doesn't care who pitches. He's going to hit it hard. Nate McLouth gets over quickly to play it back in, and Sierra has been absolutely on fire. His 2nd hit this afternoon, his 11th of the homestand.
Yeah, he's been very impressive with the bat. You can see he's got some major league tools. And it's a great problem to have. You got to sit on first pitch fastball, don't you, when a guy first comes in? And it shows the ability that he can pull that pitch too. He has handled all the pitches this 2nd time up for the Blue Jays.
Rajai Davis fights it off and fouls it into the seats. Sierra has shown great growth as a hitter. Now he's going to have to go home to the Dominican Republic this winter and work on his outfield. He's got to improve his routes. He's got the talent to be a great outfielder, no question about it. But we have seen him make some bad reads on line drives and create some problems for himself. That can be addressed. There's no question about it.
Well, you're right. He's got a good base to work with. He's got some tools. He's got ability. Now he just has to figure it out. Listen to the coaches. Get out there and work. And when he does, he's major league talent.
Ball on his strike, 1 out. Sierra has the ability to hit, it appears, in the major leagues. Now, whether he can do it over a 6-month period, that's something we'll have to find out. But if you want to be a good player on a good team, you've got to be all around. And we have seen all around players in this series all over the field for the Orioles. And the Orioles have their problems. I mean, obviously, they're not a lock to go to the postseason. They have had pitching problems all year long. They haven't hit in the clutch. But when you look at their position players, they're good defenders, they're good offensive players, and they play every day.
Saw them in July, right around the All-Star break. And I said, boy, if they get one more dominant pitcher, like a James Shields type of dominant pitcher, they have all the ingredients, I think, to really go all the way. They've attempted to get some pitching to help out. They went out and got Scott Feldman, and they also went out and got Bud Norris. None of those guys are in the Shields, James Shields class, but I think they have everything else.
When you look at it, and everybody in the world is looking for starting pitching help. I mean, there's nobody that's going to sit back and say we're set. Everybody's looking for pitching help. Rajai Davis takes ball 4. So Gosman comes into the ball game in relief of Miguel Gonzalez and gives up a single and a walk.
The 2014 Honda Odyssey, the world's first minivan with a built-in vacuum. Honda, the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, the Blue Jays threatening to get back in this ballgame. They trail by 2. Ryan Goins, the second baseman, has doubled and grounded out. Orioles have a 3-1 lead. Ryan Goins swung at a pitch that he thought was going to be a strike.
Just didn't get to him. You're right. I'm expecting this ball to be over the plate, so I'm swinging.
Yeah, he saw the ball forward to Rajai Davis and anticipated he was going to get a cookie. So he started his swing before he picked up the baseball. 0-1. Took something off, 87, but effective.
That's a good changeup. I told you that. That's for a young player, that's a pitch that he has developed, and it's a good one. Good arm action, good movement. His fastball is 97 times 98 miles an hour, so you have to respect that.
1-2, 2 on. Going strikes out, 2 strikeouts in the inning, 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Thank you, Jamie. Those 2 ball clubs, those 3 ball clubs in the NL Central are going to go bang heads the rest of the way. JP Arancibia swings at the first pitch. Ball squirts away from Wieters, but not far enough to advance. Gausman, just 22 years old. And he was a draft pick out of LSU, 2012, excuse me. A 4th pick overall in 2012. Arancibia quickly behind, 0-2, and look at the 2 pitches. Both well out of the strike zone.
Yeah, breaking ball, first pitch. JP was sitting all over that fastball. And then a good sinking fastball that JP hit right off his foot. Trying to stay on top of this one. You can see it's going down, and he hits it right off his knee, not off his foot.
Gausman has a total of 97 innings in the minor leagues professionally. 0-2 pitch. Cut on and miss. Gausman hits a couple of strikeouts to leave 2 aboard. He protects the Blue Jays lead. They trail by 2, 3-1 Baltimore. $5.90 The Fan. You can win a trip for 4 to Toronto to see the Blue Jays take on the Tampa Bay Rays September 28th through the 29th. Prices include airfare, hotel, and a chance to throw out the first pitch at a Blue Jays game. A reminder, the contest closes tomorrow, September 16th, so enter now at bluejays.com/allstatefan. All I wanted for my 18th birthday was Jays tickets. And oh, by the way, Dad, maybe you could slip a little tuition in there as well.
Read the small print. Tickets, no problem.
Yeah,
we
no
can do
problem.
that.
Mm-hmm. Manny Machado has gone 0 for 3. Machado was 2 for 5 in the game yesterday. He was 0 for 5 on Friday night. Buck Showalter had an interesting take on his third baseman. He said every once in a while Manny would make a mistake, and I'd go, "Oh, he's 20 years old."
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right.
Everybody thinks, hey, they're in the big leagues and they don't make mistakes. Just a young kid.
Machado flies out to Ghost, 1 down. Chris Davis was one of the best trades the Orioles were ever involved with. They acquired Chris Davis and the reliever Tommy Hunter from the Texas Rangers for Koji Uehara. And look at the difference in his career and how it's taken off since he's joined Baltimore.
85 home runs in a couple of years with the Baltimore Orioles. Now, Chris Davis was a good player, but he was not a polished player when he was with the Texas Rangers. He had some big years for him, and you could see the potential there, but he just wasn't a polished player as a hitter. You could jam him inside with fastballs. He would swing at breaking balls off the plate. He'd just go up there and you could strike him out or he'd hit a home run. Since he has come to Baltimore, he has become a complete hitter.
A couple of things change, obviously. It's a little bit of a wake-up call when you get traded from your first organization. Then you get in a little more serious. You say, okay, what's wrong with my approach? How am I going to fix it? And then you get a new perspective from a different hitting coach. And they give you an idea how to plug up those holes, and he's done it.
How about consistent playing time also? With the Texas Rangers, he had some decent years, but they never said, okay, Chris, it's your job, go get it. They would put him in for a little bit. They'd send him down to the minor leagues. They'd bring him back up. And they weren't really sold on him, and then they finally traded him. But I had always heard that he was a very good athlete when he was with the Texas Rangers. Could play third base, could play the outfield, play some first base.
He has played third base 70 games. He's played first base over 400. Played outfield, played left and right. Just missed that inside corner. The thing that's surprising with me, there are two things that are really valuable and cherished in baseball: power arms and power bats. And at 25 years old, the Texas Rangers made a decision they were going to move Davis. Boy, that's all play early. Chad Jenkins strikes him out. 2 down. Let's check in quickly with Jamie Campbell. He's got an update. Zach Cozart with a sac fly. Joey Votto 2 more hits this afternoon. His average is up to 309. Bronson Arroyo on the mound against Giovanni Gallardo of the Brewers in Cincinnati. Trying to finish up strong. Chad Jenkins in his second inning of relief came on in the 5th. Threw 5 pitches in the 5th inning and a great defensive play behind him from the center fielder Anthony Gose. Made a nice running catch to take a hit away from Nick Markakis. Adam Jones is 1 for 2 with a walk. Good changeup. Jeremy Jeffress on the right, Kyle Drabek on the left. A couple of right-handers throwing. Jeffress picked up his first win of the season in the game yesterday. Jones hits a fly ball to center. This should end the inning. Ghost is there. The inning is over. 3 up, 3 down. Jenkins has retired all 6 batters he's faced. Blue Jays need to figure out the Orioles pitching. pitcher for the Orioles is Francisco Rodriguez. There are his numbers from the Brewers and the Orioles. Rodriguez, of course, a one-time great closer for the Angels. Came up in 2002 in September and had a big impact in their postseason run.
Might be a nice little pickup for the Orioles if it can get them into the playoffs. They needed somebody at the back end of that bullpen. 7th, 8th, 9th inning is covered by Johnson, and K-Rod's done it before. They got him for a minor league infielder from Milwaukee.
That was a first pitch fastball to Anthony Gose. Gose has grounded out in single. Bouncing ball, big hop for Roberts. Quickly to Davis, one down. Gose is retired. Buck Showalter, you talk about grooming a young pitcher. He got Kevin Gausman into the game. First of all, it was because of an injury, so Gausman gets as much time as he needs to warm up. So after Gausman gave up a single and a walk, he strikes out Goins in there and see to end the inning. Boom, he's out of the game. Finish up on a high note.
And what does that do for a young player like that?
Boost his confidence. Top of the order, Jose Reyes.
You know, and if they hold on to win the game, we're going to get on a plane and head out of here, and he's going to say, you know what, I contributed to a big win in September. That means a lot for a young player.
Yeah. Of course, Buck Showalter's all about getting to the postseason this year, but at the same time, he can build a starter for the future. Reyes hits it hard, gloved by Roberts at second. 2 ground ball outs for Rodriguez.
You know, we have talked about this defense by the Orioles all season long, and we talked, or series long, and we talked about their few errors that they've made. They've also are the first team in Major League history to have 100 errorless games by the end of August. Think about that. They played 100 games where they didn't make an error at all. That's consistency, and you force that other team to beat you.
Brett Lawrie, 1 for 3. When you have that kind of defense, pitchers are anxious to put the ball in play. When you have porous defense, pitchers become defensive. They nibble, try to make the perfect pitch, then they make a mistake, and generally it's some big damage.
Challenge them, get the ball on the ground. It's probably going to be an out. This year they have played 112 games without committing an error. Errorless ball games. That's a new club record for the Baltimore Orioles, who have always been known to be a good fielding team.
This is popped up behind home plate. Wieters takes the mask off, and he and Encarnacion kind of got tangled up in the on-deck circle, but the ball was out of play. When you talk about tight defense, and the Orioles are on pace to break the Major League record, the fewest errors in the season, Baltimore's projected to commit just 47 errors. The all-time record for fewest errors in a season, the Seattle Mariners in 2003 committed 65. The Red Sox 66 in 2006. Tight defense. Lawrie gets a base hit up the middle. He's 2 for 4. Stayed on that breaking ball, and that's a big hit to bring Edwin Encarnacion to the plate with 2 outs.
Singled his last time up to right field. And with 2 strikes, he's becoming a better 2-strike hitter. Brett Lawrie setting the stage for Edwin. Here's the pitch from Rodriguez. Tries to slip this one by him. Look where it is. That's a pretty decent pitch. Down and away, but Lawrie with good plate coverage gets himself a hit.
Encarnacion takes a first pitch strike. Lawrie with his second single of the afternoon. Encarnacion is 0 for 3. Blue Jays have out hit the Orioles 8-6, but trail 3-1. Rodriguez at one point in his career threw almost exclusively sliders. When he first came up with the Angels, we mentioned he came up mid-September, but was added to the postseason roster in 2002 because of injuries. And he became a huge factor.
He was huge in the playoffs and in the World Series. He only threw 5 2/3 innings of regular season baseball for Anaheim in 2002. But he was 2-0 in the division series, 2-0 in the league championship series, and 1-1 in the World Series that year.
Troy Percival was the closer, and Rodriguez pitched late in the game in some meaningful situations. Mike Scioscia never hesitated to use him because he was overpowering.
And nobody knew him. Nobody had any idea who this guy was. He came up from the minor leagues. He was dealer, fastball, slider.
It was interesting. He hit the free agent market the same time CC Sabathia did. Sabathia signed for about $168 million. Rodriguez signed with the Mets for about $38 million. Just to show you where the true value in pitching lies. And he was the premier closer at that point.
How about the year he was coming off when he went to become a free agent? And you talk about the difference between starters and relievers.
62 saves in 2008 for the Angels. Appeared in 76 games. At a 2.24 ERA, everything you wanted. He was an all-star, finished third in the Cy Young voting, sixth in the MVP voting. And CC Sabathia blew him away with the contract. Sabathia signed with the Yankees.
Starter versus the reliever.
Full count. There goes Laurie. Poke down the right side. This is trouble. It's dropping fast. It's a fair ball. And will bounce out of play. That will cost the Blue Jays as Laurie has to go back to third base. Encarnacion stays on that pitch and gets a ground rule double. But he won't get the RBI as that ball bounced out of play.
Even with the runner running 3-2, he's got to go back. Another pitch away from it. Encarnacion hits it with one hand. Drops that bottom hand. You can tell he's hurting. But it stays fair. Nick Markakis knew that this ball was going to bounce and then go into the stands, knowing that that runner was going to have to go back to third base. So a bad break for the Blue Jays.
That's Edwin's first hit since getting back into the lineup. And now they're going to put Lind on, of course, even though Lind represents the go-ahead run. So much for the book. Buck Showalter says, I'm throwing the book away. I'll pitch to Moises Sierra, but not give anything to Lind in this situation. So he will put the go-ahead run at first with the intentional walk. Lind has homered and singled. And with first base open, Showalter's not going to hesitate.
He was also the last batter that Miguel Gonzalez faced this afternoon.
Buck Showalter would rather pitch to Moises Sierra. Sierra is 2 for 3. But you give Rodriguez a right-handed bat and the opportunity to get out of the inning.
Still a little bit too early to use a left-hander. He could have had a left-hander up and brought Brian Madison to face Lind with first base open.
Big Tommy Hunter, and he is a strikeout specialist out of the bullpen. He's cranking it up in a hurry. Brian Mattis is the left-hander.
Well, Sierra showing that he can handle the fastball. This one back through the middle and then jumps on the first pitch he sees from the new reliever. And Gossman, so fastball hitter. He's also shown that he can handle the breaking ball.
Buck Showalter with a visit to the mound. And he has made the call to the bullpen. Francisco Rodriguez will leave with the bases loaded. Tommy Hunter with a big arm into the ball game. Moises Sierra scheduled to bat. finale against the Baltimore Orioles. The Blue Jays are threatening to get back in the ballgame. They have the bases loaded. There are 2 outs, and Tommy Hunter is into the ballgame.
This is where we were a couple of games ago against the Baltimore Orioles, when Hunter had to try to finish off the 7th and then the 8th inning. He's really taken over the 8th inning for the Orioles ahead of Jim Johnson. Buck Showalter was hoping that Rodriguez could be the 7th, Hunter the 8th, and Jim Johnson the 9th. But he's got to figure it out right here and finish it off. 2 quick outs and then 3 base runners, and find themselves in a mess.
Laurie is at third. He singled to center, and Encarnacion doubled down the right field line. It was a ground rule double, and then with first base open, the Orioles walked Lind intentionally. Moises Sierra struck out against Hunter on Friday night. He was the second out of the 7th inning, and then right behind him, J.P. Arancibia, he too struck out. You know you're going to get a heater from Tommy Hunter. He's got a good one. He threw 99 on Friday night.
He's not loose yet. That was just 96. We have seen that from Sierra already. Goes up there hunting for that first pitch fastball. He comes out of his shoes swinging at it, then starts to cut it down. He'll be much better off. Let Tommy Hunter produce all the power. You just make sure you get that barrel out in front.
Ball on a strike. Bases loaded. Bounce just outside of third. The Blue Jays are 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position this afternoon. They've stranded 7. Matt Wieters out to talk things over with Tommy Hunter. Hunter came to the Orioles along with Chris Davis from the Texas Rangers in the Koji Uehara trade.
Encarnacion at second. Big secondary lead. If there's a base hit, you can see he's way off the base.
Hard cutter down and away. 96 with late movement. Tommy Hunter does it again. He comes in with the bases loaded and strikes out Sierra to end the threat. Football Daily airs Monday to Friday on Sportsnet 1. You'll see guys like Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, and Brian Urlacher. All the latest news and analysis. Fox Football Daily, 6 p.m. Eastern on Sportsnet 1. Tomorrow evening, it'll have all the weekend's football news, and they'll set you up for Monday Night Football right here on Sportsnet. Kyle Drabek makes his second appearance since coming back from Tommy John surgery.
There are the numbers right there this season, all rehab games for Drabek, 1-4 with a very good earned run average. Wants to forget his first appearance That was in Minnesota, could not get an out. He was charged with 3 hits and an earned run in that appearance versus the Twins.
Drabek came into the ball game in the 8th inning, and he was bailed out by Steve Delabar, who got him out of the inning with minimal damage. Delabar stranded the bases loaded with a couple of strikeouts and a pop-up.
That was his first appearance since June of last season after his second Tommy John surgery. He looks a little bit more in control of himself. He changed his windup a little bit, simplified it.
Yeah, he talked to us about the adjustments, and he keeps his hands in a very relaxed position, trying to eliminate a lot of the movement, get the ball out of his glove quickly and get it into a good spot.
Keep his hands close to his body right here and just turn, take the ball out of your glove and throw it.
He got a good curveball, but he hasn't been able to throw it in an effective spot. Full count, Danny Valencia. Valencia had a 2-run double in the 3rd. Drabek strikes him out. 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. What a pickup Liriano has been for the Pirates. He has walked 4 and struck out 4 through 6 innings of no-hit ball against the Cubs.
Needed another arm. Wandy Rodriguez won't be pitching for Pittsburgh the rest of the season.
J.J. Hardy, the shortstop, with a ball and a strike. Off the end of the bat, big hop for Laurie at 3rd. Drabek gets 2 quick outs here in the 8th. This is an important step in Drabek's comeback, just to make it back to the big leagues and close out his season with a couple of outings in the major leagues, just to say, okay, you made it all the way back. Now you can close the book on your season and think about a normal off season.
Get your workout routine figured out. There's no doubt about, hey, I'm a big leaguer or not. I'd like to see him pitch today. I'd like to see him pitch another game. Blue Jays still have to find a starter for that makeup game in Chicago. Kyle and Ricky Romero might be those guys. Maybe you start them, excuse me, Buck, and they each throw 3 innings.
Yeah, and Ricky Romero stretched out more than Kyle Drabek. I mean, if there were a guy that you were going to start, I think Romero would probably get the nod. Another off-speed pitch and a good one. Kyle Drabek, a strikeout and a ground out. 1-2. Drabek has all the weapons. We heard Buck Showalter talk about how you have success as a starter. You need to command 3 pitches. Showalter's thoughts are, you can compete if you command 1 pitch. You can win if you command 2 pitches. And you can dominate if you can command 3 pitches. Buck Showalter talking to Ron Johnson, who is the AAA manager. He managed at Norfolk this year. Changeup. How about Drabek's inning? Kyle Drabek comes in, retires the side, and strikes out 2. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. a couple of strikeouts in. A 1-2-3 top half of the 8th inning. He looked much different from the first outing we saw.
Look how compact his delivery is. There's not a lot of extra movement. The bottom half is working with the upper half. Showed a good changeup. Showed the ability to throw a curveball when he's behind in the count. Small steps. That's what you have to do when you're coming back from those kind of surgeries and you're a young pitcher. Small steps. That was a good inning for Kyle Drabek.
Who does he look like now on the mound?
Pat Henkin. That's who he looks like to me, how he doesn't bring his hands over his shoulder. Henkin back in the 90s. His bullpen coach out there. Very compact and very simple delivery.
It reminds me of Doug Drabek. Very tight, high leg kick, good breaking ball. Doug, of course, Kyle's father. So Blue Jays find themselves in the 8th inning. They're down by 2. They've out-hit the Orioles 9-6, but they've not been able to come up with a big hit. Blue Jays 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They've stranded 10. Jose Davis found that right back into the catcher, Matt Wieters. Oh, the joys of catching every inning of every game. Matt Wieters is the leader in innings caught. And here in the dog days of September, boy, you can bet he's got a lot of bumps and bruises on that big body.
I'm tired, too. Squat behind the plate. I did that one time. I said, I'm going to say that I caught a guy in the bullpen. I'm going to catch his side. I went down there, caught his side. I couldn't walk for 3 days afterwards. And I was playing, too. It was 20-something years ago. My legs were killing me.
Rajai Davis trying to get something going against Tommy Hunter. Hunter came in and struck out Moises Sierra to leave the bases loaded. 1-2. Breaking ball driven to right. Markakis with an easy play. One down. Let's check in again with Jamie Campbell. A lot going on in the baseball world. Well, Tampa Bay trying to right the ship. They've really had a struggle of late, and David Price is on the mound today. In Minnesota, trying to finish things up. Tampa Bay has won the first 2 games in this series. They've won 3 straight after losing 2 of 3 to the Red Sox, where they had a rough West Coast trip.
Yeah. You predicted that. You said it's going to be tough, and it always is.
Well, you know, there's a lot of things that factor in when you go out there. First, the time change. That's the first natural thing. But there are a lot of ball players from California. And they have family and friends. There's a lot of distractions. And I don't care if you play there in June or July or September. The natural distractions of playing. And everybody in California, you always think it's like a vacation. You go to San Francisco and play in Oakland. You stay in Orange County, play the Angels. It's a tough atmosphere.
Hey, here's another one. Those teams are pretty good out there.
Besides that, yeah.
Oakland.
Ryan Goins hits a high fly ball to left. McLeod into the ball game defensively, makes the catch. 2 outs. So with 2 outs, JP Arancibia has gone 0 for 3. So Munenori Kawasaki will bat for him. And you can hear the fan reaction as Kawasaki is limbering up on the on-deck circle.
He put up one of the best at-bats of the season the other day. A 10-pitch at-bat, finally got a walk for the Blue Jays, and that's what they're hoping for right now. Work Tommy Hunter over just a little bit. Try to get him on base, and then maybe bring a guy up there who can knock one out of the ballpark. Kawasaki, he'll grind it out against you.
Munenori Kawasaki comes on to pinch hit for J.P. Arancibia. Quickly 0-2, Tommy Hunter. A couple off-speed pitches and crossed up Kawasaki. Kawasaki's 1 for 7 as a pinch hitter. Now he's got a battle. 98.
A little something extra. It's not the tying run at the plate, so the infield and the outfield can play shallow. Take away that base hit. You can see Jones in center, very shallow.
Kawasaki strikes out. Another strikeout for Tommy Hunter. Hunter retired all 4 batters he's faced in this ball game. We'll go to the 9th. The Orioles have a 3-1 lead. Final day of the season, Sunday, September 29th. Blue Jays take on the Tampa Bay Rays. Game time is 1:07 p.m. The first 20,000 fans will receive a Blue Jays 2. Call Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com or stop by most Rogers Plus locations for a toque giveaway day, Sunday, September 29th. Pat and I have seen that toque, and it is a good-looking toque. And not only you get a toque giveaway, you get a chance to see the Tampa Bay Rays maybe fighting for their postseason life on the final day of the season. Kyle Drabek throws another strike. Drabek in his second inning of relay. Looked good his first inning. Josh Tolley takes over behind the plate as Arancibia was lifted in favor of the pinch hitter. Ow! That hit McLeod right on the knee. And that's going to hurt. Nate McLeod, with his first at bat, came into the ball game as a defensive replacement in the 6th. Richie Mansell's a longtime trainer for the Orioles. And McLeod is hurting. That got him square on the knee.
Kyle Drabek throws really hard. Listen to this. Didn't sound like it got a lot of the muscle area in the thigh. Right on that, and there's no protection right there.
You know, too, and you can relate to this. Watch where this ball hits him. Just below the knee, on the outside of that leg, and that's where that big ligament and tendon run down the side. And when you get that thing bruised, it takes forever for it to feel better. It might not be a problem right now, but they're going to have to slap some ice on it right after this game and make sure that that doesn't create a problem.
I got hit like that by Kurt Young of the Oakland A's. Exactly like that, and broke a bone in my knee. There's all the, you talk about the ligaments and all the tendons and everything, the bone right there, and broke it, and my season was over. It happened in September.
Yeah, and they're going to take him out of the ballgame. And you know what? Richie Manziel's probably told Buck Showalter, he said, listen, let's get him out. We'll put some ice on it. And Chris Dickerson will take over as the pinch runner at first. So obviously the Orioles need all of their players as healthy as possible. And when McLeod got hit, they're not going to take any chances and see if they can get control of that right away. Chris Dickerson comes on as a pinch runner at first. Nobody out. Brian Roberts, the number 9 hitter. Roberts lined out to the first baseman his last time up, batting as a lefty against Chad Jenkins. Roberts has doubled this afternoon. Drabek's got to regroup and throw strikes. Had a good inning of work in the 8th. Struck out 2. Retired the side in order.
A couple of punch outs.
There goes Dickerson. Roberts swings and drives it to left. Rajay Davis ranges back, makes the catch. Dickerson retreats to first. 1 down. Rogers customers can watch every Blue Jays game this season on Sportsnet live on your smartphone. Visit RogersAnyPlaceTV.com/sports to get started. Drabek gets Roberts on the fly ball to left. Nick Markakis has had a good afternoon. He's 2 for 3, walked, and he's lined out. He did a line drive to center, making a bid for his 3rd hit. Anthony Ghost made a fine running catch. There goes Dickerson. Tolley's throw is a good one, right on the money, but not in time. Josh Tolley made a strong throw. Dickerson got a good jump and steals second base. The throw was right on the bag.
You know, the Orioles played hit and run with Roberts at the plate, and he hit a fly ball so they couldn't advance the runner. So the next best thing you do, you try and steal a base, and Dickerson gets in there just ahead of the tag. Good throw. He digs it out of the dirt and throws it right on the bag. But Dickerson is just ahead of the tag.
5th stolen base for Dickerson. And looked like he took the brunt of it. That left hand hit that bag hard, and that's the dangers of that head first slide.
Yeah, he looks like he's hurting walking around out there at second base. He went in hard. You can jam your wrist. You can bend back one of your fingers. Aggressive slide, and every play is aggressive here in September.
Well, and Chew, he's coming off the bench and he wants to get into scoring position. He steals second base, but looked like he banged up himself pretty good down there at second. Orioles lead at 3-1. Nick Markakis a 2-0 count. There's a strike. Kyle Drabek, much different person. Working his way back from his second Tommy John surgery. You and I have had several conversations with him since he's been back, and boy, he's in a good spot right now. Bouncing ball up the middle. Reyes near second, throws to first in time. Markakis is out. Dickerson moves up on the play, but now there are 2 down. Jim Johnson, the Orioles closer, is loosening up in the bullpen. Johnson leads the American League with 44 saves. He's one ahead of Greg Holland of the Royals and Mariano Rivera of the Yankees. Manny Machado bats with 2 outs. Machado's gone 0 for 4 this afternoon with a pair of strikeouts. Crowley does a good job of keeping that breaking ball in front of him.
You were just mentioning about Kyle Drabek in a much better place this year. I sense it. You sense it. You talk to him. I don't know if he's a little bit more mature. He's been dealt a couple of setbacks since he's been a professional, but he's a battler. I wouldn't forget about him for next year. You know, he has shown, and he's got the talent. Now he just has to make that transition and take it from AAA to the big leagues.
There's a strike. Good spot down and away. Drabek will turn 26 on the 8th of December. Certainly plenty of time for him to have a fine career. He's been through Tommy John twice. 3-1 to Machado. Good movement on that fastball. Full count.
93 with the little sink.
Chris Davis is on deck. 2 outs. Chris Dickerson, the pinch runner at third. Good pitch. Threw him a 3-2 breaking ball. Everybody in the ballpark's thinking Drabek's going to throw a fastball because Davis is on deck, not wanting to walk Manny Machado. But that was a very effective pitch. Now, even with Davis on deck, Machado's got a little bit of a doubt in his mind as to what he might get here. Got him. What a strikeout for Drabek. He leaves a runner at third. Machado strikes out for a third time. Drabek picks up 3 strikeouts in 2 innings. Jim Johnson into the ball game. Anthony Gose will start things off for the Jays. NFL football on the East, it's Broncos and Giants. Ontario, Saints, Buccaneers. Same in the West and Pacific. Sportsnet 360, it'll be MLB Player Poll. And on Sportsnet 1, great America's Cup action from San Francisco Bay. So make sure you check it out. Lots to offer coming up right after this game. New pitcher for the Orioles is their closer, Jim Johnson. He leads the American League with 44 saves.
Oh, he can pitch every day. He's strong, he's durable. He'll throw a lot of pitches. He's not having the type of season like he had last year, but still great. 44 saves and just 18 base on balls. Picked up a save here the other day.
Anthony Ghost, the number 9 hitter. Johnson picked up his 44th save, as Pat mentioned, on Friday night. Ball and a strike to Ghost. Blue Jays haven't scored since the second. They took the lead 1-0, but the Orioles came right back. Scored 2 in the top of the third. Anthony Ghost drives it to center. Adam Jones plays it on a hop. The Orioles have a 2-run cushion. It looked to me like if Jones cuts the angle toward the infield, he's got a chance to make a play on that.
Yeah, the more ground he gave, the more that ball tracked out there by Ghost. Stays on that sinker down and away, and it's one of those rising balls that you're not sure as an outfielder how long it's going to carry out there to you. You can see Adam Jones saying, if I cut across right there, I think I make the catch.
Goes aboard, top of the order. Jose Reyes. Reyes has gone 0 for 4.
He has an 11-game hit streak against the Orioles in his career. Every game he's played against him, he's had at least 1 hit.
Little squibber out in front of home plate. Wieters gets on it and throws to first in time to retire Reyes. Chris Davis, the first baseman, gave a good target on the inside of the base path and kept his foot anchored to the bag and reached high to the infield side of first base.
That's why you like to have those big targets over there at first base. Tough to get throws by guys as big as Davis.
Ghost with a big hit. Gets the inning started. Now he moves to second. Brett Laurie, then Edwin Encarnacion. Encarnacion doubled. Laurie has singled in each of his last 2 at-bats. Good fastball from Johnson. He's got great movement on his fastball. And he throws hard, and you got to make a quick decision. Ground ball. Ghost goes to third. J.J. Hardy takes the out at first, and the Blue Jays are down to their final out. At this point in the ball game, J.J. Hardy didn't even look at Ghost. He was just going to make sure he got the out at first.
Get an out when the team gives you an out. Take advantage of it. That's the impressive thing about the Baltimore Orioles. They don't beat themselves. Well, you were talking about power versus power and a time in a ball game, one-on-one. Here it is.
Blue Jays are down by 2. Edwin Encarnacion represents the tying run. He's 1 for 10 against Jim Johnson. First pitch inside. You can see Wieters set up on the inside corner, and Johnson delivered.
Edwin has flied out 3 times in these double. They have kept the ball away from him all day long. But this situation is a little bit different. They might want to crowd him and stay in on him so he can't extend. You know what's on his mind right now, what he's thinking about.
Hitting one out of the ballpark. Adam Lind has had a homer and a single. 2 for 3. He's on deck. One and 2.
Watch Encarnacion. Watch him wince right at the end. He knows that. He feels that on that follow through. That wrist still bothering him.
Johnson strikes out, Encarnacion loses the bat. The Orioles win the ball game 3-1. Jim Johnson picks up his 45th save of the season. Orioles win the series, their first series against an American League East rival on the road since April. Remember, coming up, lots of football action across the board. Sportsnet 360, it's MLB Player Poll, America's Cup on Sportsnet 1. Thanks for watching. We'll see you Tuesday night